Hey, what's up?
What's up?
Welcome back to the Us versus Them podcast. It's been a year. This is episode number 50, episode 50. Life after COVID, life with COVID. I'm Jason Jackson. I'm your host. I don't know what to say, fellas. It's been a while.
Yeah, it has been a while. Been a minute. Yeah, but we back.
I'm glad everybody's back. All right, let's get some introductions. Starting with the oldest.
It's funny you should say that because guess what? I'm back like I never left. The podcaster's favorite podcaster.
Yeah.
Your friend or your wife's favorite podcaster. The podcast you love to hate. Right, dog.
Did you say your wife's favorite podcast? Disrespectful.
Somebody gonna pull up on Dre, man.
Hey, might have to. Might have to, man. All right. Who's next oldest?
It'll be you, sir.
That's me. I thought I already threw my name out there. It's Jason. Happy to be back. Happy to get with it. Let's dive into some of these good old topics with some of my closest friends. We back.
And it's your boy Amar. It's the podcast that they warned you about. They still out here putting out podcast warnings, podcast watches and the like. So I'm still out here, still here for this.
It's your boy Terry, back at you again, like always. Been a minute, but I'm here, still holding it down for the single brothers out here.
Well, all right.
Hey man, it's Junior. It's really been a minute for me. But hey, I'm here, man. Hey, styles make fights.
Yeah. Styles make fights. Okay.
Just throwing cliches out there, bro.
Oh yeah.
Was that the last episode you did? Was the Styles make fight?
I think so.
My God, wasn't that episode like 16?
Yeah, it was early. We were early.
Well, for our listeners that don't remember Junior, he is a part of the podcast. He's not a guest.
Real early in the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, and I made a mistake on the label. It still says episode 51, but I'll see if I can change that in post. Let's dive right into our topics today, fellas. I'm happy to be back podcasting with you boys. Today is Kobe's birthday, guys. August 23rd. Kobe would have been how old?
42.
Going too soon.
Rest in peace, Kobe. Gigi, the other passengers, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed.
I still remember, don't want to dwell on it too much, but I just still remember where I was at. I remember our group text message was how I found out.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally thought it was fake.
Because I had just seen him tweet the night before.
Right.
It's like he was just there. He was congratulating LeBron for passing him.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it hit me like a tidal wave. I got a crazy story. I want everybody else to speak on Kobe, but nobody else have anything.
I thought you were going to start.
We all got something.
Yeah.
No, man, it's just I was telling some of the fellas the other day, I never get sick on flights. I've flown 1,000,000 times. I've flown 1,000,000 different places. I've never gotten sick on an airplane. And I was on my way to DC to meet up with my wife, and I was in the air, and I got sick. The kind of sick where you apologizing to people. And the guy on the end of my row was upset because I had to keep going to the bathroom. I threw up on the plane a little bit. Stuff like that never happens to me. And when I landed, 30 minutes after I landed, the news that Kobe had died broke. So while I was in the air, Kobe and them were in the air, and they had that crash. It happened at the same time. So I don't know how much I believe in, that things are connected, that all things are connected, but it shook the world. it hit me hard. That's the first and only time I've ever gotten sick on a flight. I was in the air at the same time Kobe Bryant was.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I want to go around real quick. Go around to everybody. I can start off with y'all. What's your favorite Kobe moment, man?
I go ahead and say something on that. For starters, kind of like y'all just touched on, like how you found out. I woke up to that just because my work schedule being different and everything. I wasn't really up just to catch that in the flow of the news cycle that day. I just kind of woke up to that and I saw it scrolling on ESPN. So, it's like by that time, it was kind of like one of those things like ESPN probably wouldn't be scrolling that on the screen if it wasn't real. So I didn't really have that moment of like, is this real or is this fake? Do I believe this or do I not? It's like, wow. I just woke up to that and it's like, okay. And then I see all the tweets, Facebook posts, everything like that. And, it kind of feeds into the question that Terry just asked. It's like, there was a lot of time. It's weird for me because with Kobe, I liked Kobe when he first came in. Froby, young Kobe, the Sprite commercial? The him and Tim Duncan did it. The Kobe Bryant, Slam Dunk Giant, that's the Kobe that I was most a fan of. And then, when they kind of started their role, I kind of just fell off of them a little bit. But I think as time went on and obviously with him passing, it kind of reinforced everything with that. It's like, I'm trying to get away from really like quote unquote hating or even really disliking athletes. And I just try to be more appreciative of what they bring to the game. I mean, yeah, you have your favorites, but you just try to be more appreciative and just, appreciate greatness, just in general. And, I think a lot of people, your favorite Kobe moment could be a bunch of different stuff, man. The lob he had with Shaq against, was it Portland? I mean, he tormented my team. I mean, I think everybody here is a Mavericks fan. Like, he tormented the Mavs, put 60 on us in 3 quarters. Like, I mean, it's a ton of stuff to go look at with Kobe. But yeah, man, I mean, for sure, like everybody said, it's like, it's definitely going to be missed. Like, his impact is undeniable. I mean, you see all the stuff that people have had to say about him since he passed. It's just, for sure, one of the greatest.
Right on. I agree with all of that. He absolutely tormented my Mavs, but it's one of those things that you had to just eat because Kobe did that to everybody. It seemed like he usually went extra hard against my Mavs though.
We hardly ever had anybody that could check him.
But we had anybody that could stop a good shooting guard in 30 years.
Exactly. Still struggling.
We had Adrian Griffin.
Greg Buckner.
Yeah. Man, next person. Y'all bring me down.
I think mine came out when Kobe was going through a dark time in his personal life when the whole Colorado thing went down. Because at that point, it was kind of like Kobe went from being a good player to being a phenomenal, out of this world player. It seems like he blocked everything out. He got exonerated. And then that's when like the Mamba mentality actually took off.
So it's weird because right after that Colorado stuff happened, that's when Kobe showed up with tattoos. Before that, he was a real clean cut dude. And after that, he was tatted up. And it's like he was freed. And he was allowed to be himself. He was a jerk. He was an asshole. All those things that great players are sometimes when they're pushing their teammates. He was able to be all that stuff unapologetically now because he didn't have to wear the facade. It seemed to me, and that was actually going to be my favorite moment. That the tattoo Kobe when Kobe finally got to be himself.
Yeah, I mean the Mamba basically got to shed his skin.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I like that. All right, Terry. Junior.
I'll go for like I said, Kobe, like agree with everything that y'all just said, man. That that Mamba mentality, that work ethic that he had, man. I think that's what actually I respected more about Kobe was just the work ethic that he put in. And Kobe was like, he's one of the few players that I've seen every season he came back with something different. Even up until he was getting close to retire, he had something he added to his game every year. And his thing was always, get better each day. And I always respected that. My favorite Kobe moment, man, it was that NBA Finals when I think it was against the Pacers, I want to believe, and Shaq had fouled out, and Kobe took over the game. And I remember he just kept getting bucket after bucket, and he would just kept doing this. He was like, "Everybody, calm down. I got this." And it was like, everybody was like, "Man, we hadn't seen you take over a game on that stage." And he was like, "I got this." And that showed me he had a different mindset from everybody else in the league.
Did he make that Kobe face?
Yeah, he kind of tucked it, yeah. And so I just remember he kept doing that the whole time. Every time they would come down, they needed a bucket, and he would just come back down. Calm down. I'm gonna get this bucket, or we gonna make the right play. We got this, and that just shows me a different mindset, man. To me, that defines the greatness, man. The greatest players, to me, they always in the crunch time, they either stay the same or they elevate their game. That's to me, that's what defines the great ones from the really, really good ones. Those are the ones that transition the league and everything like that. So that's what I always say. Anytime I think about Kobe, I always just think about that. And me personally, I have to throw this in. I know a lot of people didn't like number 8 Kobe. I love number 8 Kobe. I like 8 Kobe more than I like 24 Kobe, for me personally.
Mm.
Am I the last one?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So for me, it's actually a couple of things. Because honestly, of everybody in here, I was probably the person that probably disliked Kobe the most. I wasn't a big Kobe fan at all. Like I don't like the Lakers off top, and then Kobe represented everything about the Lakers. So I really just wasn't. I respected his game. I respected the competitor. I just didn't rock with Kobe. Not to the level like I dislike D Wade, but like I just didn't rock with Kobe.
On his birthday, Junior?
Hey, this is all context. This is context. I got to set the table.
Yeah.
So for me, my favorite moment of Kobe, and it's actually two of them, and one of them is a little bit more personal. But like the first one is probably his last game, and it's not because it was his last game; he wasn't playing no more. But it was just because he went for 60, and it was him going for 60 with everybody watching, with everybody rooting for him. I was rooting for him, and so I'm not even a Kobe fan. Sitting there, his daughter's on the front row, like just rooting for him. Gigi going crazy after every bucket. He probably dropped like 20 something in the fourth quarter alone. They ain't had nothing to play for, but he was just out there getting buckets, carried them to a W, and just went out on top in a way that it's almost like it was made for a movie. You know what I mean? So that was my favorite, like on court. As far as like my, the thing that really like hit me about Kobe passing was, right around, obviously when Kobe passed, I was expecting a daughter. And my favorite moment with Kobe is probably seeing him with Gigi at the Brooklyn Nets game. I think they were playing the Atlanta Hawks. And he's sitting on the front row. He's breaking down like what's going on the court to Gigi. She's understanding that, and them just having that conversation. And that was just so dope to me, especially as a guy getting ready to have a daughter. Just thinking like, man, that's the type of relationship I want to have with my daughter.
It still messes me up.
Yeah. So like that whole situation, that right there was probably my favorite moment. Yeah. Like when you say Kobe to me, the first thing I think of is them sitting down in the front row. I don't even think of him in a jersey. I think of him as the father now.
But let's reiterate that you didn't like him.
Hey, it is what it is. Hey, healthy respect though. It was a healthy respect for him.
Junior had to go last. He's like, "Are y'all done? Are y'all done? Are y'all done?
Are y'all done celebrating him?
Are y'all done?"
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now, kind of to Junior's point though, man. Like Kobe definitely was a guy that rehabbed, kind of the way that he was perceived, as time went on. Like kind of like as Dre was pointing out, like with the Colorado thing, like there was a point when he was, among the most despised figures in sports, and for him to be able to, come back from that and he became one of the biggest advocates for women's sports, and just advocating for women, period. And it's just it was something that I think he, because so many people look up to him, it set that example. And I mean, I referenced it before we started recording, like the Nike ad that came out today with Kendrick Lamar doing the narration. It was just kind of centered around kind of, you can speak to the mama mentality and just getting better, just being better. And it was, that's kind of the theme of the whole ad, was like being better fathers, being better men, being better, sportsmen, just being better. And I think, that's what the mama mentality spoke to. We saw it as a basketball thing when he was on the court, but once he retired, it became just being a better person. So,
yeah, that might very well be the worst part about this, about Kobe being gone, is that his best work might have been on the horizon. Like he wasn't done yet. He had so many things he was working on. He wasn't just
right.
fading off into retirement. He was working on stuff, and some of those projects we'll see. I think some of those things were still in the works, but who knows what else Kobe Bryant would have achieved and what Gigi would have been. We really, really did lose something. It's tragic, but rest in peace, Kobe. It's good he didn't have to deal with any of this COVID stuff, though, fellas.
Man.
So, COVID, the global pandemic that has affected the entire planet, but has affected the United States much, much worse than just about every other place on the planet. COVID's been a pain in the ass for me personally. How has it affected you guys?
For me, it's
Work, personal.
Yeah, but work-wise, it's been a little bit, somewhat of a blessing. I'm working from home now, so I don't have to deal with a lot of, going back and forth, dealing with traffic out here and different things like that. That's been, so can't really complain, and looks like I'm gonna be working from home for quite a while now because of COVID. Personal life, it has hampered a lot of plans, a lot of things I had in the works for this year.
Man.
Have really had to just get pushed to the side and put on the back burner because of COVID. Has really limited my interactions with a lot of people and limited a lot of things that I just enjoy doing that I haven't been able to do or haven't been wanting to risk it to go out of during these times.
Thanks. I'm not risking much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. For me, it's like I don't know about anybody else here. I mean, I know Terry alluded to it being able to work from home, but I've still been having to go, on site to go to work. So I don't know. It's kind of been a weird thing for me. Just it's like you see different people's reactions and the various different levels that people kind of treat the situation with as far as the level of seriousness. So I don't know. For me, it's kind of just like I kind of just tend to look at it from a standpoint of like I've used this analogy before, but I kind of look at it like how they say survive in advance, man. That's how I'm just like, just get through it. I just look at it as like however long it takes, you just got to push through. I mean, I know me and Jason have talked about this before. It's like you're talking about something that might take a year or whatever or more to kind of get somewhat resolved, quote unquote. But in the grand scheme of things, like if you can do what you got to do now to preserve the other 70 plus years of your life, then just deal with it. Just, rock with it and deal with it and just get through. So that's how I kind of look at it. Like Terry said, it's like, you got the personal things. It's like things you wanted to do. I mean, me and Jason talked about it yesterday. Like the fact that we made that New York trip right before all this stuff kind of jumped off.
Man.
The timing of it is crazy to me. It's like, we was just in there, just up there, last year. And then like a couple months after we come back from that, you start hearing about it.
The world
And
changes.
then like kind of the line of demarcation for me is like when we was in Austin. We're in Austin
In
and
March.
we come back from Austin and it's like, in March, and like everything changed after that. And it's kind of like that line in the sand for me where I think back to when did everything go left? And it's like, that's it for the most part. I mean, not an exact date, but for the most part. So, but yeah, man.
And we were out there bad too, boy. We were in Austin with no masks on. We shopping. Remember the dude in the polo store made the joke? No, sir, not those shirts. Those shirts. I mean, we had a normal weekend, but that's like the last time that things were normal because everything after that was changing. Things shut down rapidly. Nothing was the same. It was it was crazy. Yeah. But yeah, it killed our DC trip.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have a nice trip to DC planned with all the festivities, and yeah, we won't be doing any of that stuff this year. Yeah.
I think the craziest thing is how it got real is the day after we came back from Austin, when Terry's job was like, "No, man, you're quarantined because you went to Austin." I was like, "Oh, snap." It got real, and it got real fast. I think that was the tipping point for me because it seemed like everything else after that was all downhill. It was like, it's not like we went to New York.
Right.
We were in Austin. And Terry about his job saying, "Hey, man, they sent me home because we went out of
Terry
town."
was celebrating. You're like, hey, I got a couple of weeks. About 2 months later, Terry's like, yeah. It's the difference. I didn't expect you to get the house this long.
Dude, I literally thought I was gonna be home for I was like 2.5, 3 weeks. I was like 2.5, 3 weeks, maybe 4 at the most, man. I have not seen the inside of my office since that day.
Boy,
I don't even know what that boy looks like.
There's gonna be so many problems when people have to go back to work. It's gonna be problems. People are gonna be like, I'm not cut out for this shit. 5 days a week. Y'all expect me to come in here and deal with this? Why y'all watching? Yeah, they be like, can you get off your phone? This is what I do.
Man, real quick before Junior says his thing, man. Okay, rice, I kind of get it. Food, okay, disinfectant, hand sanitizer, so cool. I still need to understand why paper towels and toilet paper are the hardest thing to find in March. I still don't have an answer for that.
Panic, man. It was a panic.
Man.
And might I add that we contributed to it, because what did we do while we were in Austin? We went and rushed the stores because they were still living normal down there in the Metroplex. We couldn't find toilet paper anywhere. So we went and hit a grocery store in Austin and stripped the shelves, which contributed to the panic.
What was it like 2018, 2019 when that quote unquote panic of that gas shortage? I think it was 2017, 2018 when what event was it, the hurricane or something that hit somewhere and it caused a gas shortage and people were rushing to go get gas and it caused a gas shortage for no reason at all. And it was like, if people would have just kept getting gas at their normal rate and stopped listening to all these other people saying that we're going to be out of gas, it wouldn't have been no problems. But you get a couple hundred people who be like, oh, they're supposed to be out of gas everywhere. And I remember places was just running. I remember one gas station down the street from me, they couldn't, every time they got gas, they would run out so quick. And he said, I wasn't due. He was only getting gas delivered once every week and a half because he wasn't just a busy station. He only had 4 pumps at his gas station. And he was like, yeah, I'm just out of gas. He was like, ain't nothing I can do about it. They said they can't give me gas until next week. It was because people was just being stupid. It wasn't even. And the funny thing was here, the Metroplex, we get a lot of our gas comes from up in Oklahoma. We don't get a lot of our gas coming from the coast and stuff like that. But we just bought into the hype down here too.
Bro, it doesn't take much. If Chauncey from Facebook gets on and says, "Hey, we running out of gas," guess what I'm doing? I'm going to fill up all 3 of my cars and my lawnmower. I'm going to get gas. Sad but true. It's stupid, and it doesn't make any sense. But information travels so fast. The only thing worse than running out of gas is being the only person without gas. You know, so you do what you got to do so you can get through your work week or the next few weeks or whatever. You know. It's human nature, man. A sign of the times, and it's irresponsible and it's dumb.
Yeah, it's that FOMO, that fear of missing out.
Thanks.
Because it's like you sit there thinking, like, man, like I ain't finna participate with this foolishness, and you start thinking, it's like, man, but what if I'm that one that they ain't got nothing, and everybody else got something? So then you take your ass right in that line too.
Yeah,
you'd be like, I'm getting a little bit of the foolishness.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I know. I remember the one that Terry was talking about. I was at the gas station at 2 a.m. filling up because I knew that I could get in and get out.
That's so ridiculous.
That only happened in the metropolitan area.
I know.
Everywhere else, gas was good.
Yep. But hey, it is what it is. Anybody else got any COVID stories?
I mean, I'll say for me, man. I mean, it's a lot different because I'm also, I'm the only one that ain't even in the metroplex no more, ain't in the state no more, ain't in the region no more. And where
are you at, Junior?
I'm in the north.
There's black people. There's black people up there.
There's black people definitely all around here. Remember, Aaron, I told you before I moved up here, man, it's the land of the flavorless Negro. So, yeah.
Could you expound on that point?
Man, it's just, I don't know, man. Just a lot of folks up here ain't got no flavor, man. It's just a lot of generic brand. Just a lot of generic brand people up here, man.
Wow.
It's different. I mean, I remember when I came up here the first time I came up here was in 2009, and I saw a dude with cornrows and a FUBU jersey, and I'm like, dude, like what? Like, what are y'all doing out here, man? Like, it's like they're 10 years behind.
Now, was it the regular FUBU jersey or was it the Fat Albert FUBU jersey? Because that matters.
No, it was it was a regular FUBU jersey. But then I also saw one that had like one, the Dirty South, Uptown and all them. I saw one of them too. It's like, dude, like, come on now. Come on, why?
The Dirty South written in the script.
Yeah. Like, why?
Oh.
It's 2012. Why are we wearing Dada up here? Like, what are y'all doing?
The question we gotta ask though, Junior, is your famous phrase, man. Did you get some, barbecue?
Man, I will say the barbecue up here is actually better than what I dealt with in the Carolinas. But I will say, man, the state up here be pledging me, man. They just be constantly doing dumb stuff that just don't make sense. Like, it's just, I don't want to divert this off topic, but man, it's just the state be bullying me. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It's bullying me, and like, I'm not gonna stand for it. Tired of it.
So Junior, how do you keep from becoming flavorless yourself?
Man,
because you have to think that at some point you may become flavorless and not realize it happened to you because you're in it.
I don't think so, man. Like, I spent too much time down there, man. I spent too much time there, being dipped in the sauce. Like, too much time in Texas, man. So, like, for me, like that's all in me. You know what I mean? Like that's in me.
Pause.
So, yeah. So, like, for me, man, yeah, like coming up here is just, it's different up here, man. Like, it's just, like I said, we'll get into it later, but it's just different up here. As far as COVID and how it affected me, I had a wedding like right before all this popped off, and it's funny because my dad actually wanted me to push my wedding out into April, and if we had done that, we wouldn't have had no wedding. You know what I mean? And then I had a daughter in the middle of this pandemic too, to the point where I was actually a little nervous that I wasn't gonna be able to see her be born, because in some hospitals they were talking about, they would only be allowed one guest, and I was, technically that guest. But some hospitals weren't even allowing a guest or a support person. So, like, there was a possibility that I was not going to see my only child be born.
That's crazy.
So, yeah. So, like, for me, it just really put a lot of things into perspective and just made me, really thankful. But at the same time, I mean, you always kind of get hit with it because it's like, my mom, she's in driving distance to all of her grandkids, and she wants to see my daughter, and is multiple times been asking to come out here, and I've just been telling her like, when at your age, we're not trying to risk nothing, and I just kind of just continue to tell her to just hold on, and like, I know it's been tough for her, but that's just been like a situation and how it's affected me. I'd also say like being able to stay at home and work from home has also allowed me a lot more time to be around my daughter, like to where normally in a normal setting I'd go off to work, be there 9 to 5, maybe after grocery shopping, get off of work, come home, it's around 6 o'clock, it's time to put her to bed. Whereas now, like for the most part, anytime like I just want to like get a look at her, I can just step off into another room and boom, she right there. So it's definitely it's had some negative impacts, but ultimately like it allows me to count my blessings.
That's what's up.
I can dig it. Yeah, that's real. That's real. All right. So if nobody else has anything else with COVID, we'll move on and hit our next topic, man. So we got a little bit of excitement. Aaron, you've kind of taken the lead on this by default.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It seemed like some people weren't necessarily aware of it, but they had DC Fandom yesterday, which is basically like Comic-Con, but specifically for DC properties. And it was a whole lot of stuff that came out yesterday. They showed a new Wonder Woman trailer. They showed a couple new games, Batman-based games, Justice League game. The Snyder Cut trailer came out yesterday. But I think the thing that everybody was the most excited about was getting the chance to finally see Robert Pattinson's Batman in a trailer. And so they had a full trailer drop yesterday. It had Jeffrey Wright, who's the new Commissioner Gordon, in it. It had Zoe Kravitz, the new Catwoman, in it. If you go by the clues that were kind of dropped in there, a lot of people are kind of thinking that the new trailer for this Batman movie is going to be featuring the Riddler as the main villain, or at least one of the villains. And yeah, so we got this new. We finally got our first look at the new Batman. I mean, what are y'all thinking?
So Aaron and I were up talking about this early this morning. Aaron, would you care to tell the fellas and the rest of the world what you thought about Robert Pattinson in the Batman suit? What you said to me?
I just thought he looked a little slim, slight of frame in that suit, man. That's the only thing that I kind of took away from that trailer, and I was like, I don't know, man. This ain't really. But like I told Jason, I'm trying to keep in mind that this is supposed to be set in year 2 of Batman, so this is like a younger Batman, and he might not necessarily be physically in the same place that he was when we saw Ben Affleck take that role. So,
okay, so let me tell you what my man said. He said,
"Wow, that's what we doing."
He said, "I'm not sure he's filling out the suit. I'd like him to fill out the suit a little bit more." So, yeah.
I said that.
Yeah. You said you'd like Robert Pattinson to fill out the suit more.
I did not say that.
That's
But Robert Pattinson said that he was not going to lift weights and do all the things to look physically enhanced to be Batman. He said that up front. He just wasn't going to do it.
Who the hell is he to make demands?
Well, see, they said what it was is they gave him a trainer, and they said he said he was going to work out, but then he basically used the whole pandemic as an out to stop. Because when this all started, he was like, "Nah, I'm just not gonna go," and he made up some kind of nonsensical excuse talking about how does it look for me to be going to a gym and trying to work out and all of the stuff that's going on in the world, some nonsense like that. So
is that not lazy as hell? That is lazy as hell. That's because
he did agree.
He's gonna be the laziest Batman ever. Aaron, now I feel bad. Now I want him to fill out the suit.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know you ended up watching the trailer, right, Jason?
No, man. I did everything else today. No, I didn't get a chance to watch the show.
Have y'all watched the trailer?
I watched it.
But yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, did that stand out? Did you notice that at all, Terry? I mean, did you think he looked kind of, small in
Well,
suit?
it goes into what you're saying about as far as I expected him because I know it's supposed to be a younger Batman, so I wasn't expecting him to be cut and ripped and like looking like like you said, like Ben Affleck and or Christian Bale or anybody. So, but yeah, I get what you're saying on that. Like as far as that
I'm
goes,
just
but
saying he didn't look like he can whoop nobody. That's all. I mean, Batman need to look like he can whoop some, beat some people up, man.
Like
I don't know what the inmate rating is on the podcast, man. So I'm like,
hey, good job, man. Appreciate that.
trying to monitor my words a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Either way, man. If it's I'm seeing promising reviews from people that have seen the trailer.
It was a dope trailer. It's a dope trailer. It looks good.
So hopefully the movie doesn't let us down.
Yeah, I mean, I would say, like, looking at it. I mean, granted, I didn't really notice, or at least I didn't think about him not filling out his suit or whatever. My mind wasn't there. I was just, I'll say that from watching it. I will say he looked quick with the hands, though. I give you that. He looked quick with the hands. The trailer is like extra dark, so it's like I'm really interested to kind of see like how they try to push the envelope compared to like the last series. So I'm really intrigued by it. And then, like I say, it did look like it was going to be the Joker. It was going to be the main villain in that, or at least one of them. And I really have been excited to see how they would make that work, in a darker world versus like the last time we saw that with Jim Carrey.
Now, when you say darker world, do you mean like that room that you're in, or?
Wow.
Hey man, I'm just messing with y'all, man.
Wow.
Hey, come on, guys! I can see y'all. I'm happy to see y'all.
This man's got all the jokes today.
Is that what it is, man? You ain't seen me. You ain't seen me in so long.
No, we haven't seen
8-9 months, man, and that's how we doing already.
It was built up, man.
Wow.
No, we have not seen you as a father, but man, you even moving different.
I'm moving different. I ain't moved at all. I'm sitting on the couch.
That's how fathers do.
Tell him, Junior.
Yeah.
It's like my man just been sitting down talking about he moving different.
He moving different.
Is that what just come with fatherhood? Like you sit on the couch and people can tell you move different.
Swag. Look at me, fellas.
I mean, you got the posture
like Dad washed. Jackson, like you about to take a mean nap.
Boy, I'll nap on you boys in 5 different languages. That got me messed up.
Do you nap between podcasts, man?
Don't think I won't. I will go to sleep on your ass, boy. I never felt it coming. I just wake up. I just wake up and it's the next day. I didn't even finish what I was doing. I just wake up and it's the next day. But yeah. That's dope, man. I'm excited about the Batman movie. All right, so I probably should have dropped this next topic right after COVID, considering that it kind of goes together. But the NBA is in a bubble. I thought it was crazy as hell. I didn't think that it would work, to be honest with you. I know Terry and Aaron, I've talked to both of y'all about that. I said it just wasn't going to work because these dudes are accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle. But it seems like everybody's bought in just to kind of get through this season and get things done. And it's worked surprisingly well. I've been entertained. I've really been spoiled. I found myself early today or yesterday, I didn't watch basketball. And I was like, man, I sat here and complained about not having this for forever. I got the nerve to not watch it now that they actually put the show on, So I've been watching basketball all day, but this has been a success. I can't wait to talk about the other leagues here in a second. But what's been your favorite and your worst thing about the NBA bubble?
For me, my favorite thing is getting basketball starting at 12 o'clock our time.
Gold.
That's like that. So the other day I had a meeting at work
Say that.
And like the meeting started at like 11:45, 12ish, and I was like, all right, meeting, let's go. It started getting closer to 12:30, and I'm like trying to pay attention on the camera, but I'm steady looking like, hey, trying to get on the top, like, hey, we got to wrap this up. I don't want to be rude, but I'm supposed to cut this game on. Like that's, I mean, that's been my favorite thing. But the NBA, what I'll say about it right now is even to go off. The NBA did a great job of planning this out. They didn't rush back into the league. They didn't say, hey, we going to throw these teams in Orlando and just make them play, yada, yada. We don't care. Like, they had a format. They had games. I know a couple of the playoff seeding games as time went on was, really wasn't that good. But I remember like that first 3 days, like every game was good. Like all those games, you can see those teams, they were just happy to be back on the court and they were all fighting, for their playoff season spots. And then when things got to crunch time, the teams that were really trying to make it at the end, all those games were good, man. And these, like you said, just having these playoff games starting and every other day, there's no break. The games are starting at noon and they're going to, 10 or 11 o'clock that night. It's just been, I'll say hats off to Adam Silver and his team and all the NBA teams and the owners and the players, man. They did a really good job of planning this out, doing everything that's going on.
I agree. Anybody else?
I think for me, it's even Devin Booker ball out. And I think the hard part about it is kind of like it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing because it's like my man is balling, was balling out of control, but he's still in Phoenix. You know what I mean? He reminds me of and I don't mean to, diss Phoenix like I usually diss Cleveland, but it's he's kind of like the modern day Mitch Richmond. You know what I mean? No talent, but he's just stuck in a place that's not going to help him get anywhere.
So I'm glad you brought up that Devin Booker thing because that's crazy, bro. They did everything that they could have done to get into the tournament, and they still needed help, which kind of made the whole thing a moot point. Like they legit could have stayed home. If I was Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns, I'd be complaining. Y'all could have left me home for this. I went out there and did everything I could do. But I mean, hopefully they'll use that as a spring. Well, you know what? Hopefully they won't use that as a springboard. The West is going to be crazy next year.
We don't need nobody else good in the West, man. We don't need nobody else good in the West.
Yeah, the West is going to be crazy. But yeah, you're right, Dre. That was nice. Devin Booker and them went off.
Yeah, I would say you can go ahead, Aaron.
No, I was just gonna say, like, kind of to Terry's point, man. The NBA playing this whole thing out. Me and Jason kind of spoke about this earlier, man. Like, I'm impressed with the presentation that they managed to pull off. I mean, the virtual fans, like, it's really, they've done a really good job of really being able to pull this off and make it as close to normal as it can be under the circumstances. And I mean, you have to applaud them, man. Like, they've handled it from a PR standpoint. They've never had really any kind of issues as far as people really doubting this thing. Once they started it, obviously people had their doubts going in, but once it went into to play it, it just kind of has been smooth sailing for the most part. I think Jason has said earlier, like, you say you wouldn't mind seeing like a documentary about how all this came together?
Yeah, man. Man, if they're smart. Especially
it's already in the works.
After seeing The Last Dance, if they're smart, they're recording everything. They need to have a camera crew with every team. They need to be capturing everything. They could turn this into literally a 30-episode documentary, bro, and I would probably watch every episode.
Oh no, it's already in the works. They said they got so many people that's covering it. They even like what's her name? Taylor Rooks. Taylor Rooks, I was watching her on the Desus and Mero show. She said literally she has a journal. And she said she's writing down everything every night in her journal. She said she's taking down notes of everything because she said she knows it's coming. She said she knows someone's going to come on and interview her for that. Like it's going to come. They're going to have so many, 30 for 30s, documentaries, tell all book. It's going to be. They're going to have so much stuff.
I'm here for it.
Landmark point in history, man. I mean, you got to document stuff like this. So. I mean, like you said, we're gonna see it all. I think they, we had a chance to see some things format wise that we might not otherwise have seen. And I mean, you know, there's been talk that they might have playing games, you know, be a part of the season, you know, from here on out, you know, because I mean, that did kind of add an extra layer of excitement. I mean, you kind of got that with baseball at times where you've had those one game playoff scenarios and, you know, whoever, you know, wins goes. But, you know, if you see that in the NBA, that could be kind of cool to see, you know, kind of change up from the norm. And you know, we've seen guys that I've seen the memes on Twitter and whatnot. Like, you know, you got, you know, MJ, Bron, Bubble, TJ Warren. You know, it's got these different players that have kind of emerged and shown true in the bubble, man. And the one thing I will say though, like LeBron, everybody I think here knows I'm a fan of LeBron, like, but him and Anthony Davis, they got to stop talking about this whole. It's so different without the fans. It's such an adjustment. Like nobody wants to hear that. Like just go play basketball, man. Like nobody wants to hear. Like, yeah, I get it in a logical sense. Like, especially like with LeBron, like you probably played in arenas full of people since you was in high school. I get that, but ultimately, like, bro, you're in the middle of the playoffs. Like, nobody really wants to hear that. Just go play basketball, bro. Like, I'm not gonna say shut up and do it.
That takes me to something that you said. You know, like the introverts are really doing well in the bubble. You know,
maybe
was that you or Terry? That was one of y'all.
I don't remember saying that, but I mean, it might be something.
That was me. That was me and Buzz on the game. That was I was talking about.
And they were like, introverts are really doing well in the bubble. You know, and this is kind of a science experiment, but yeah, I could see introverts doing better. The guys that don't have to have a bunch of girls and, you know, have to have the ability to hit the club and turn up. I bet this is almost like back to college on some level.
Yeah,
I'll say even before that, probably high school for them, like AAU and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, man, you know, kind of piggybacking off of what y'all already kind of touched on. It's just been a success all the way around. Like ultimately, like when I first heard about the bubble, I remember texting Terry, and I was wanting to see them do like, since it was gonna be different already, I wanted to kind of see them do something different. Like I wanted to see them maybe do like groups or like group play, and then kind of go into in the bracket play. I wanted to see them open it up and go 1 through 16 versus having the East and Western Conference. But ultimately, like the way it ended up working out, it came out perfect. Like, I mean, I think everybody, for the most part, was a winner, in this. Like, even the teams that busted their butts and like didn't make it into the playoffs after coming in and doing well in the bubble, like San Antonio, like Phoenix, like if the season would have ended in March, like they would have been ending the season like in a really negative fashion. Phoenix, essentially, I mean, the fan base, like, I frequent a lot of message boards, and a lot of the Phoenix fans and the Phoenix players, that organization, like there's a real big uptick with them right now. Like they feel really, really good about like where they stand, even though they didn't make the playoffs. It was like the next best thing. Like for them, it was like a postseason for them. So for them to perform that well, like they're super high going into next year, and they got a top 10 pick to add to it. So they came out well, and then just kind of as I think it was Aaron that said, just kind of to see some of these guys that have emerged during the bubble, like your TJ Warrens, getting a little peek at Bowl, Michael Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr., like all these guys that were basically afterthoughts before the bubble, and then you get into the bubble, and then they really stepped up. Another thing I say is that it's been interesting to see the transition from those that were killing in the bubble, like in the seeding games, and then when the playoffs start, how different it. Because TJ Warren doesn't look like bubble TJ Warren in the playoffs right now.
Turn back into a pumpkin.
He really did. He really did. But then even to a lesser extent, you can say Gary Trent Jr. too, a little bit. But just to see like Luka, see him take it up a notch. See, as Maverick fans, see KP take it up a notch. See, some of these guys just really, really step it up, man. It's really, really, I think it's been a huge success. Honestly, watching them last 4 or 5 Portland games, seeding games, man, that was must see TV every night when they was playing. And in a regular season, I don't think, no matter the circumstance, I don't think I would have been glued into what they were doing. But I just wanted to see really good first round matchup with LA, and to watch them blow the game against the Clippers and the whole Dame time thing with Patrick Beverly and them, and then knowing that like they talking all that mess, and then they see each other at breakfast, like it's like that. All that stuff is interesting to me, man. And like even when you see Luka get buckets now, and he's yelling at the entire like Clippers bench, like they got to see him tomorrow morning, like. All that stuff, man. Like all that stuff is dope to me, man. So I'm really interested to see like what comes out of it as far as like documentaries and stuff go, because like that's going to be a part that like I really want to see. Like, how does Dame Lillard look at PG? You know what I'm saying? At Paul George when he's getting breakfast in the morning. Like you was talking about me, and now look at you, Pandemic P. We'll get into that later, though.
Yeah,
man. I mean, me and Jason talked about it earlier, man. Like the fact that these guys it's just changed so much, man. Like these guys aren't having to hop on flights 2 and 3 times out of a week. It's saving that kind of wear and tear in that regard. And I mean, there's advantages to this as well. Like, I mean, I think we're all looking at it as kind of like this makeshift thing that they had to put together on the fly. But there's advantages to this too. I mean, I think it helps. I can see it definitely helping somebody like LeBron, man. 35 going on 36, man, you not having to necessarily worry about hopping on flights all the time, and you just come to the arena, play the game, go back to the hotel, you just chilling. Like it's not the same hustle and bustle that you would normally have to go through during the course of a playoff series. And the thing I was most curious about going into the playoffs was like the changes, and with the fact that you don't have a true home court. They talked about the little things that they do in the arenas that change the experience for one team when they're the home team, quote unquote, versus the away team. And it's all like, kind of to Junior's point, it's all fascinating to me. And I mean, I think as time goes on and we eventually start to see these different pieces of content come out that are chronicling this stuff after the fact. I mean, obviously you got people doing their own shows in the bubble. Was it JaVale McGee is doing an Inside the Bubble show? It's players doing all that stuff.
Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah.
Quick interjection. If anybody that's watching, y'all check out JaVale McGee's YouTube. That Inside the Bubble that he does it's great. It's good, man. It's really good. Check that out, man. JaVale McGee's his Inside the Bubble stuff is great. I love it.
Be sure to like and subscribe to this show first, but
yeah. Check that out after you watch this. Not doing. Don't pause right now and then go check it out. Like check it out after.
Yeah.
And then like one thing I want to. My bad. Yeah.
This is my like and subscribe face.
Yeah. No, but one thing I wanted to kind of bring up too before getting off this topic was like I know some people was talking about like an asterisk or whatever with the bubble, and I feel like based on like especially what Aaron was saying, like I feel like this playoff setup is like the most genuine, this is like the best version of it, because at the end of the day, like all that home court stuff, I get it. Like it's not typical of what we would see, but at the end of the day, it's 2 teams, a ball, 1 gym. Like at the end of the day, let the best team win.
Without the crowd playing on the ref or anything else.
Exactly. I mean, granted, I still think that I never forget since 2006. I will never forget the NBA is a business, and they're not above having agendas. So they might still want that all LA final, but ultimately, I had to throw it out there. I'm just saying, even then, like ultimately, like it's it's 2 teams, it's a ball, in an empty gym, and it's just like, hey, let the best team win. So like none of the other stuff matters. Like, you hear LeBron and some of the other people talking about how it's unfair that they worked hard for home court advantage. If you're the best team, you're the 1 seed, prove it. Go out there, win. Why you playing? Or there's other teams in the same environment, go out there and do your thing. Because if the pandemic hadn't hit, and let's say we get the all LA final, the Lakers would have had a 7-game home court advantage. Like the court might have said Clippers, but it was going to be nothing but Laker fans in there. So like at the end of the day, I'm not trying to hear none of that. Show up, all out, win, and shut everybody up.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
So moving on to my next topic, y'all. Does the NFL need a bubble too? Because this shit ain't gonna work. This shit is not gonna work. Excuse my French.
I told you earlier, bro. I'm still not 100% convinced they're gonna have a season, man.
Man,
I see
there's
all
no
these
way.
teams.
And
Yeah,
some
I
of
see all these
some of the teams are talking about having fans. It's crazy. That's
I see
crazy.
these teams having camp, but I'm still not buying fully that it's just gonna be a season. Like they planning, like everything's cool. And like me and Terry was talking about that yesterday. It's like, dog, we should be watching preseason games right now. Like this should be what, the third preseason game, I think, this week. Like, dog, like I'm not just 100% convinced we're gonna have a season right now. I mean, everybody kind of going about business and trying to adjust on the fly. And I told Jason I was watching the Buccaneers. Like most of these teams, if you follow their YouTube pages, they have some kind of homegrown version of Hard Knocks that they're doing where they chronicle in their camp. And I was watching the Bucks show on their YouTube channel, and they was talking to like Gronkowski about the little sensor chips that they have that they put underneath your clothes and your jersey to contact trace in case somebody comes up, sick or whatever. And so, you have these different things that these teams are doing to try to adjust. But at the end of the day, it's like trying to do it like somewhat normal where these teams are still going to the different stadiums and different cities and traveling and all that. Like, and I don't know if they can do it without a bubble. I don't know.
They need to give these teams 60-man rosters at least. I think that's reasonable. I mean, and if for no other reason, you're not having a preseason to give your team that ability to kind of cull that roster and to release some of these guys that may be on the fringe. I mean, things are going to be different. And this is the reason I'm so passionate about this is because this is really going to mess with my fantasy season. This is going to mess things up. I'm just saying this is going to be bad, fellas. So if the season gets canceled, I'm going to have to give everybody their money back.
So I don't know if the NFL needs a bubble. I feel like they do. At least bubble the teams when they're, in their own respective cities, and then definitely bubble. I think they said they are going to bubble away teams when they come, like, when they come in, like if you're the traveling team, bubbling. Me, I'm on the other end of the spectrum. We're going to have football. Those billionaires are going to do whatever it takes to have football. I don't think, like, there's some stadiums that are saying, like, some teams are like, yeah, they're not going to have fans. A lot of teams, like I know the Cowboys here locally, they're going to have fans. Now, the Cowboys have one of the bigger stadiums where they can spread out their fans, and they told them they can have 50% capacity, however that works. But, and I know other stadiums, they're not big enough to get like a good ample space, but they're going to have football because those TV contracts, those monies, those advertising dollars, look, they're not passing that up. They are going to get that. That's even why, even with the bubble for basketball, they were still showing local broadcasts because they still had to get those TV contracts money. So the NFL has way bigger, more lucrative contracts than the NBA. So the NFL is not going to pass up those, and they share the revenue. They share that TV, those revenues on that. So now the quality of the football that we might get this year from the NFL, that's another topic. Because people are going to be. I mean, you hate to say this, and I hope it's. I mean, God forbid, but some people are probably going to catch COVID, and they're going to have to sit out some games.
It's crazy. That's why everybody on my fantasy team, I'm only picking players that have already had COVID.
To be clear, Matt Stafford with the number 1 pick.
Zeke.
To be clear, man, I agree with Terry. Like, my whole thing is, if for some crazy reason that they didn't play the full season, or they, something happened, it wouldn't totally shock me. But I do think they're gonna play football. The money is too much. So
yeah, I agree. It's going to be tough to pull this thing off with the constraints that you normally have with the 53-man roster, and the rotations are too short. if you have an outbreak on a team, what do you do? If that outbreak goes 20 people deep, what do you do? You know what I mean? Each game in the NFL means so much. I can't wait to see it, how this thing is going to play out. This is going to be crazy.
I hate to say this, but I think it's going to play out. It'll play out well. I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to go on outside of what we'll be able to see. If you think about a lot of things, the NFL players don't have the same leverage as NBA players. They have one of the poorest CBA, agreements within all pro sports. So, and a vast majority of NFL players have some of the poorest money managed habits. I'm not saying that to knock them. It's statistically true. So both parties are probably going to try to push through to where they can get whatever incentives they have in their contracts and whatever, roster money that they have due. Here at the end. So there's probably going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be probably covered up, but they'll find a way to get through. They may have a redacted season from 16 to 12 to 10 or maybe even 8, but there will be some form of full season.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I agree. I mean, there's just too much money, especially when you consider that the NFL is already the leading sport, and now you've got a captive audience, people that for the most part can't or shouldn't be going anywhere. I mean, you're able to sell that to advertisers as no, you'll have more people watching football now. I mean, they might be able to raise the prices. Yeah, but go ahead, Jane.
I was going to say, and actually to Terry's point, Terry had brought up how, like with the NBA, how they had, they were even showing those games locally because they had to get that TV money. And I mean, it was true because like even me being up in Minnesota, the Timberwolves, they didn't make the playoffs, but they were still showing games on their local channel. Like they were showing games of other teams on their local channel to satisfy that same TV deal, which was crazy to me. Like when I'm sitting there, I'm in Minnesota and I'm watching Brooklyn and Toronto play, and I'm like, for what? But it was to satisfy those same TV deals. For me, I think they're gonna have it because football just makes way too much money. I just don't know how they're gonna do it because with the NBA, you can do a bubble because you're looking at, I think they extended the roster to 17 when they went to the bubble. So you got 22 teams with 17 players, and the coaching staffs aren't that big. The NFL, you got, if you're talking about expanding that up to 60, you got 60 players. Huge coaching staffs, training staffs. Like that's a lot of people, and that's 32 teams. That's a lot of people to try to bubble. So and like that format wouldn't work as far as trying to do it in a neutral site. Like at the end of the day, they're going to have to travel, and I just don't know how. Like there's definitely going to be outbreaks. Look at Major League Baseball. I don't know if y'all been following that at all. Terry, for sure. But you got people popping left and right with positive COVID tests, and I feel like the NFL is going to be like that. And probably, and double the amount just because of the volume of people that are going to be involved in it.
The NFL needs a Fernando Tatis Jr., man. They need somebody to really jump off the screen and just take some of the headlines away from this stuff. Because, it's inevitable, bro. You're going to have some isolated outbreaks. Maybe 5, 10, 15 guys on a roster, and like you said, baseball is kind of the prime example of how this is probably going to play out. Fans and no fans, you still gonna have to worry about this with the players and their families. So potentially, like I said before, it would take something crazy to really just stop it. I think they'll obviously start it. I know Jason was kind of, presenting an idea of like kind of a start-stop thing where you have, periodic stops in the season where you allow for things to kind of teams to regroup and make sure everything's good and then go back at it. I don't know if you want to, expound on that or kind of, revisit that, Jason.
Yeah. So my idea, Roger Goodell, because I know you're out there, is to have 3 bye weeks or 3 series of bye weeks, and those bye weeks will last for 2 weeks at a time. So yes, it's going to extend the season, but it'll give guys time for their bodies to recover, and it'll give people that may be dealing with COVID symptoms that may have affected the team some time for those teams to recover. Little things like that could go a long way, because I'm just anticipating COVID breakouts, and if 2 or 3 times during the season they just stop for 2 weeks and push that Super Bowl back to March, maybe they can get through this thing. You're welcome, Roger.
And some of the college football teams or college football conferences, their schedule's kind of broken out like that. I know with the Big 12, they play 3 games, then there's a bye week, then they play another 3 games, then there's another bye week, then they play another 3 games, and there's another bye week. So I imagine that might be the best route to go. Plus, when you have those bye weeks, say if you have a situation where COVID cancels a couple games, now you have time to kind of maybe reschedule if you need to. So I definitely think that'll work. And even getting back to, I know we had talked, I had brought up earlier the MLB. I'm just thinking with the MLB, of all the sports, of all the team sports, you would think that's the one where they'd be able to socially distance, and there's hardly any contact in baseball, and yet they pop in left and right. So it just that I will say, looking at that does not give me a lot of confidence about the NFL. But I know the money is too great over there. Them stadiums are too big, and they're not gonna sit empty when there ain't no concert center either. So they're gonna have to get that money one way or the other.
Yeah, and Aaron, how you gonna bring up Fernando Tatis Jr.? You saw what that dude did to my Rangers last week?
Hey man,
boy, he was piling on. It was disgusting the way he was treating us. These are other grown men, but that's a whole other topic. But yeah, I think the NFL needs a bubble. All right, fellas, our next topic.
Man, real quick, this is so much different without the music breaks.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'll work on the music breaks next week. We'll get something up there. I know how I'm going to do it. I ran out of time, Phil. What do you want from me?
Oh, no, you good.
All right, our next topic. Meg Thee Stallion got shot. All right, our next topic. No. Meg Thee Stallion got shot by a very small man. Anybody care to elaborate?
Tory Lanez shot her in the foot, and she put out a video earlier this week, or I guess last week, kind of detailing what happened. She was pretty perturbed. Her contention is that Tory Lanez and his people are lying on her, so she felt compelled to address the situation, and she put him on blast. She was like, "You shot me. You shot me." And the only reason she's saying she said she still had the best interests of him and everybody else involved in hand, because she didn't say anything to the police for fear of what might happen and the situation becoming even worse.
I like how you said police.
Yeah, I've been watching The Wire, so.
Yeah, how could you have somebody else's best interest in mind and they shot you? I'm squealing.
Yeah.
I'm telling.
Yeah.
I'm telling early before he gets out of town. I'm telling anybody that'll listen.
Well, I mean,
he shot me.
I mean, if you really think about it, all this can be used as a confessional to the actual crime. It just, where is it happening? What, California? So does the DA take this and prosecute? Because, if you really think about it, he actually has that ability, or he or she. I don't know, who the attorney general is, or the district attorney, wherever this incident took place at.
Yeah, I just want to say, that our community leans way too hard on keeping it real. There are some times where you need to tell on the person that just shot you, or the person that just robbed you, or the person that is threatening to kill you. You might need to speak up on that and call the authorities on that person so you can preserve your life, and preserve your reputation. I mean, to hell with this snitch talk. I don't get it, man, and I have zero tolerance for that.
To your point, you know what it is? I think people have misconstrued what snitching actually is.
100%.
Boom.
Snitching is when you're involved in something, a criminal enterprise, and then y'all get caught up, and then you dime the other people that you was in this thing with out. When you're somebody just having a dispute with another person, and they shoot you, and you tell the authorities, that's not snitching. That's like Jason said. That's telling somebody who shot you.
Hypothetical. What if you're involved in a criminal enterprise, and then the people in said criminal enterprise that you are engaged with hatch a plan to kill you? Do you go to the authorities, or do you thug it out because you were involved? Let me tell y'all. I'm telling y'all right now. This is a disclaimer. Don't do crimes with me, all right? Because if I find out that y'all planning to kill me, I got to tell on you. I got to tell you. I'd like to live. I got kids out here.
So you're gonna run to the police and be like, hey,
don't do crimes with
we committed this crime, and this crime, and now they got a plan to kill me. So we all need to go to jail.
Yeah, I still need you on screen, Terry, but I got to change this configuration. Don't do crimes with me. Do not do crimes with me.
He said, "Look me in my eye. Don't do crime."
It just doesn't make any sense. I'm with you 100%, Aaron. People have misconstrued what snitching is. There are times when you need to call for some help. And if somebody shoots you in the foot, especially if it's a very, very small man, you need to tell somebody.
Bro, you keep bringing up the fact that he's a small man.
I know, man.
It's relevant. I'm sorry, it is.
Because
is it relevant though?
Yes. You know what? You know what a big man would have done? He would have said, "Get off me." He would have pushed her.
Okay, hold on. Aaron, you just said you was watching The Wire, right? Didn't Omar get taken down by a really small person?
You're making my point for me.
He got taken down by a child.
Exactly. But what I'm saying is that whether he's a small person or not, don't matter. He got.
This is a grown man.
No matter how big or small you are behind the trigger, that bullet's gonna hit the same way.
I'm trying to say that you have to worry about
very small man, not just a small man. A very small man shot Megan Thee Stallion in the foot,
and you have to worry about that person more. You have to worry about that person.
Do you though?
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Statistical.
Okay, hold on. So Tory Lanez, if Tory Lanez was 6'1", you'd be worried about him less.
If Tory Lanez was 6'1", he would have handled that a whole different way. He wouldn't have shot her, But little people always feel like they have to do more. They always feel like they have to do more, to be respected. It's that whole Napoleon complex, man.
So Tory Lanez shot her. So he shot her because he felt like he couldn't handle her physically.
Mm-hmm. So the real answer is HGH. If his dad had given him some HGH and he was a normal sized man, if Tory Lanez is 5'8", if Tory Lanez is 5'7", it's all good. But dude is like 5'1", 5'2".
Junior, we got to shut this down. First of all, these are undercover jabs directed towards you and myself.
No, wait, no, it's not. Tory Lanez is. That's why you heard me add that very. I said very small. Tory Lanez is exceptionally small. Tory Lanez is like 5'3".
I said if Tory Lanez is like 5'1", 5'2", this was not. Hey, little people. No, not Andre. Me. Little people. This is not a jab. I'm just trying to say that Tory Lanez, he's not big. He's not big, and bad things happened because of that. That's all I'm saying.
Tory Lanez is a bantamweight.
So let me get this straight. So if you get in an altercation with somebody, you should look at their height, because if the shorter they are, the more likely you are to get shot.
Yes.
If they know they can't handle you physically,
let me tell you something. If Tory Lanez would be in a struggle with my 13-year-old daughter. She just might dump him out, and he knows that. He's packing. He has to. It's for his survival. That's all I'm saying.
Man, you guys are God.
I don't think this is a controversial take at all, man. How old is Tory Lanez? Like 30? Somewhere around there? If you in your 30s and you like 5'2",
he's 5'2", so
5'2",
doesn't matter
like
if he's 20 or
5'2",
40.
115 pounds, and you like 30-some years old, you got to have a gun. You got to have a gun.
Boy,
You got to have.
Telling y'all. And
So what's the determining, like, where does this height start? Like,
The Andy Dalton line with height.
If you under 5'5",
yeah, the Andy Dalton line with height.
yeah. If you're under 5'5", you got to have a gun.
Hey, we gonna call it the Lanes line.
You just heard Lane's line.
If you are under 5'5", you got to have a gun.
I don't know what that line of delineation is. I don't know where that is, but you just know it when you see it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm saying 5'5".
So the next time we all out, man, and we kicking it, I want y'all to point out somebody, and y'all be like, "Hey, he's below the Tory Lanez line."
But there's a lot of variables there, Terry. Like if he's wearing Air Maxes, he might be 5'7". You know what I'm saying? It's the little things.
So he has to be. Okay, I got you.
I'm just saying. Now, all jokes aside, though, like me and Jason talked about this yesterday, though. I do think it's amazing how many people are out here just being ridiculous about this whole situation. Like the fact of, like, you know, obviously people calling Meg a snitch, or, you know, trying to bring up these reasons and justifications for why she got shot. It's like, dog, you're not. That's not a valid point to bring up at this point. And you know, people trying to do the whole, well, she should have known better than to be around. It's like, nah, bro. Like, time out for all that. Like, you gotta do better, bro.
We've got to protect our people all the way around. We've got to protect people, but we especially have to protect our women. This is just crazy. This is crazy. You can't be out there shooting people like that. Tory Lanez, but he felt threatened, and he's a very small man.
So what you're saying, Jason, is short people put the guns down?
Please.
You know what this is making me think of? It's making me think of the episode of Martin, when Martin got into it with all them little people. It's making me think about how
when he had Bushwick Bill on there. That's what's making me. Bill.
I'm not talking about little people. I'm talking about short, normal people.
So okay, but would that not make you even more hyper nervous about those folks too? Then,
man, I have so many
stories. I'm trying to paint you into a corner, Jason.
Oh, my face is on this podcast, and I have a good job, and I don't want to offend anybody.
All right. I just wanted to. Hey, okay.
This is a safe place. Speak your truth.
Right?
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is the opposite of a safe place.
This is an unsafe place, Terry.
Boy,
sounds like you have person PSD going on, Jack.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I see, I'm gonna have to do my wear my masks on the episodes going forward.
Hey man, I'm good. My government name ain't on here.
I'll add you in the show notes.
Middle name and all, man.
Yeah. All right, man. Next topic, fellas. Next topic. What is up with your boy? Somebody please lead me into this topic.
Whose man's is this?
Well, let's get some context. This is coming off the heels. We're recording this podcast right after Game 4 of the Clippers Mavericks playoff game, where the Mavericks won on a 3 by Luka the Don. Also, Jason, Luka said he heard all them comments you made on our episode a couple years ago about the draft. He just said he wanted to show you that you were wrong about him. But
yes, I was.
All jokes aside, I just had to throw that shot at Jason. Man, this Paul George has been, for lack of a better word, been stinking it up. Today he went 3 for 14 for 9 points, did have 8 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 3 assists in 45 minutes, and
In the game that went to overtime.
in a game that went to overtime. And this guy is supposed to be,
Elite.
one of the best two-way players. I told somebody this actually the other day. I was never super high on Paul George. I thought he was just, at most to me, was a very good player. I never thought he was elite. I just thought he was the best player on a good team, not a best player on a great team or a really good team. I just thought he was just a good player. But yeah, he's, this is, like we were talking about this before the podcast, but Kawhi came to the Clippers to play with Paul George. Like that was a requirement for him to come to the Clippers, was like, hey, go get Paul George. And, he left and I don't think this is what Kawhi was expecting to have as his sidekick right now. And so they're getting better production from, and I mean, nothing against these guys, but they're getting better production from guys like Marcus Morris and Landry Shamet than they are getting from Paul George right now. So,
and Lou Williams.
Lou Williams, but Lou Williams is one of those guys. Williams puts up numbers.
Yeah. Lou Williams he's a problem. That boy almost beat us by himself today.
Did.
Yeah, but Paul George is a sensitive guy, obviously, and it seems kind of like since the time that Dame got at him
last year,
he hasn't been. No, not this year. A couple of weeks ago, when Dame got at him and said he was running from the grind and said y'all boys are a joke or chumps or whatever he said, Paul George hasn't been the same since then. And I'm kind of with you, Terry. You can't be elite if you've got that fragile of a mindset. Well, you know what, I say that, but then there's Kevin Durant, who's just as fragile.
Yeah, but Kevin Durant's that fragile, like as far as online, but he'll come out on the court and bust you with 35. Paul George,
he might be fragile.
Paul George, yeah, he put that spotlight on himself, and he's coming out and giving you 9. It's a completely different, like
he's
Kevin Durant is like,
way better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm fully expecting Paul George to snap out of it sometime during this series and kill us. But
I mean, but that's the thing. Him going off for one game. Let's say if he goes off in Game 5, that still doesn't show anything, because it's like you're an NBA player. You can go off you could have a great game. Trey Burke went off for 25 tonight. Marcus Morris he's been going off for 20. It seems like every other game against us. It's like when you elite, you expect to do that every night. And what Paul George is showing, in my estimation, is that he's not really in the Damian Lillard, Kawhi Leonard. Like, he's not in that tier of player. He's more down there, DeMar DeRozan, like with them guys. Chris Middleton. That's really more. That's your lane.
That's a horrible tier to be in.
Hey, man. Hey, I mean, you still consider a star, but you're not that guy. Like, nobody can count on you. Like, we know that you, at best, are Robin. At best, if Kawhi go down, we know we can't depend on you to step up. It is what it is. I mean, like, you watch this game today specifically, and you see Luka, who is playing on, a bad ankle, game time decision. KP's not playing, and you see how he stepped up. And then you look on the other side, and Paul George got Kawhi. People are still messing with him about Pandemic P. Spotlight's on him to step up. I mean, and here's the thing. Who does Dallas have that's supposed to stop him from doing what he wants to do?
Dorian Finney-Smith.
Dorian Finney-Smith.
That's it.
Exactly. Meanwhile, Kawhi Leonard is still like manhandling Dorian Finney-Smith and just dunking on him left and right. So Paul George is being guarded by what? Seth Curry?
Well, now, hold on. Dorian Finney-Smith is a great player. We don't have to do this.
He's a great player. Come on, man.
In this scheme for this team, for what we ask him to do.
Come on, man. I mean, he's not. I put it like this. I've come around. Terry, I see Terry. He's got his Mars Blackman look going right now.
Y'all don't need to see Terry.
But like I said, I've come around a bit to Dorian Finney-Smith to where it's like, all right, he's a valuable piece. But at the end of the day, he should not be starting for a team like Dallas. He should be coming off the bench. Like, come off the bench, give us that 10 minutes that MKG's giving us. That's his role. That's where he should be. The fact that we don't have better talent, that's the reason why he's getting the minutes that he's getting.
He said Dorian Finney-Smith was a great player.
Yeah, he's not a great player. Nobody's gonna say that.
Jason just said Dorian Finney-Smith was a great player.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trolling, of course.
I want to end this. If I had a button to close this podcast episode, I would have hit it.
You can leave, Terry. I don't want to hear your Dorian Finney-Smith slander.
Yeah. So there's nobody on Dallas to stop nobody on Dallas to stop Paul George from doing what he wants to do. And yet he's out there giving you 9, 8, 12 on 20% shooting. Like,
fragile, man.
It's disgusting.
I'll just thought of
he's a mental midget.
He is. That's what I was about to say, Jason. That's
which makes him dangerous because he's small.
But anybody, like, you can tell he's off mentally. He's a mental, and when it comes to the games and stuff like this, just even like the talks when he was like, "Oh, I like, I want to go back to the Lakers. I mean, that's home. I want to go play for the Lakers." Then when you have the opportunity to sign with the Lakers, now you re-sign at Oklahoma City, and then when you get traded to the Clippers, you like, "Oh, well, a couple years ago I was trying to go play with Kawhi in San Antonio. We just couldn't get the deal worked out." Like, to me, your mental makeup is just, I want to please everybody and I want to make everybody, and you don't want to go out there and it's, as we talk about this, record this episode on Kobe. You don't have that mama mentality. You don't have that mentality that, hey, I'm supposed to go out here and get it. I'm gonna go out here and show why I'm one of the better. Hey,
Jared Jackson?
Yeah, what's going on,
Jackson slipped in, man.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, you show him make a cameo with your screen up, turned the wrong way and everything, boy.
It's all good, man. I appreciate you guys letting me jump in this bad boy at the last second.
Nobody uses their phone vertically like that. What are you doing? Don't you have a laptop?
No. I do not.
Jerry got a strong contrast going over there, man.
Doesn't he?
Hey.
Boy, I can't tell your lips from your beard.
Hey, man, I'm gonna be sitting on the couch, man. Give me a break. I don't have my setup right.
It's all good, man. It's all good, man.
I'm just glad you're here, bro.
Glad you're here.
All right. Hey, man, congratulations, JR.
Hey, man, appreciate that.
Absolutely,
man.
Absolutely.
You know what? This is the first time we've had everybody.
That's because nobody has to drive anywhere. Let me tell you something. If this was in the Metroplex, Junior wasn't driving from South Oklahoma, where he chose to live and spend his time.
Man, that was a long drive, man. I made it the first couple times, and after a while, it was just like, man, I can't do it.
Can't pay it.
And it wasn't so much the drive there; it was knowing I was gonna have that drive back.
The drive back is always the one.
Yeah.
Boy, basically, Junior repeatedly said, "To hell with those Negroes." Repeatedly, and like literally every week. Every week he chose something else, anything else.
Hey man, I wanted to make it.
Hey, Jared was right down the street and didn't come though.
Same.
Jared was like in walking distance. Jared stayed the closest.
And then I sat on the PlayStation and he's on Call of Duty. It's like, wow. Wow.
Every week Jared be like, can't make it.
Hey man, like a family, bro.
That's your family tone? Hey,
I didn't freeze. I was just sitting there. I got a family, man, so that's my excuse. Got to deal with it.
Hey, are you able to turn your phone sideways? This is so awkward.
What's wrong with it? Hold on. Let me see what I can do here.
He was looking straight on my screen.
Yeah, what are you talking about, man? I'm straight.
He's straight up and down on my screen.
He just got the black bars on the side. He's not using up.
Yeah.
He's not using up the whole space.
He's not a landscape.
Hold on.
He's one of those people that record.
Right now.
Nah, you still the black. Nah, it's the
Right
creative.
You.
Man.
Hey, well, we finally saw something other than your beard. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh.
But who is this real dark guy at the top? Who is that? That Dre? But why you have? Yeah, I can barely see you, my guy. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good, brother.
Right on, man. It's good to see you, brother. Absolute. All right, so I apologize for chiming in and taking over the show. Hey, what we talking about, huh? Yeah.
We were talking about Paul George. We're done with that. We're actually on the All Disrespect.
Oh, look at that! First off, no, go ahead. Go ahead. Where y'all at? Was it my turn already? Is it my turn?
Disrespect, man.
You got somebody you want to disrespect, man?
Actually, I'm not ready for this, man. I'm gonna let y'all know.
You might have something all disrespect. Hey, I'm pretty sure in these COVID times, you done ran across somebody you could all disrespect, all disrespect.
Oh man.
I want to all disrespect these people who refuse to sit down somewhere. I want to all disrespect them.
Yes. Can we do groups? Are we doing groups right now?
Yeah,
Boy, it's your show. Hey.
All right. So first off, I'm just gonna spin off of that. You morons that really thought that these masks didn't work. You just cost us an extra 3 to 4 months of sitting in the house because your dumb ass wanted to defy order and be a rebel. Your dumb ass can't even go outside yourself now either. Like, it's stupid. Sit down somewhere, wear a mask, go to work, shut up, leave people alone, and wash your hands. Nasty bastards. Yeah, that all disrespect, man. Boom, boom. I don't have a desk. Boom, boom.
All right. Who's next? Aaron, you're all disrespect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna pick that back up from where I had it, from where
Yes.
Jared took it. But yeah, I mean, like I said, these people that just refuse to sit down somewhere, man. Like, I mean, it's not that hard, bro. Like I said earlier, man. We talking about a handful of months out of an entire lifespan, potentially of 70 plus years in some cases, man. Like, sit down somewhere, man. Like, you'll be all right. There's gonna be stuff there to be done, after this stuff gets better, So yeah, just and the people that's just dumb about it more so. If you gotta be out, you gotta be out. But like the people that's just dumb about it and just want to just be all off in these crowded scenarios and clubs and stuff, the places that are open for that matter. But like just be smarter, man. That's all.
Can I add on to that, man? Real quick.
Didn't you kind of already do that once?
Yeah, I want to add to it. How the hell do you politicize a pandemic? Fucking morons. Okay, I'm done. Boom, boom.
Boy, you showing up late with all this energy, man. If you don't,
Hey, I'm mad at the look away.
yeah.
Made a point. Boom, boom, boom.
I'm mad at the look.
Yeah.
Hey, Junior, what's your disrespect?
Oh man.
Man, honestly, for me, I'm actually gonna go a different direction with it, man.
Okay.
I don't have no disrespect, this week. It's just for me. Ultimately, man, I'm blessed. My situation that being healthy, my family being healthy. You know what I mean? Being here on the podcast, with my guys for the first time and forever, like. Yeah, honestly, I just can't. Right now, I'm not in a place to where I can really just go at anybody or anything. So for me, man, it's all love this week.
Way up looking at it.
Yeah.
I like that.
No, hey, disregard my brother, man. That's a beautiful thing, Junior.
It's absolute.
It's good. It's good to be in a good mental space and to come in with some nice, even keeled energy. That's a wonderful thing. Jared.
Way up.
Yeah.
Did you just look down to the left of your screen to see where I was at?
I was hoping you were down there. Yeah, because that's where you are on my screen.
Nigga, please.
Boy, you know, shut your stupid. What? Idiot.
Oh, shit. All right, man,
Andre,
go ahead.
Andre, what you got, brother?
I guess I'm like Junior. I really don't have anything disrespectful to say or anything to disrespect, you know, because I think everything is rough enough as it is. You know what I mean? We all just need to, as in the words of Jared, quit being nasty bastards. Wash your hands, you know, cover your mouth, and okay. So I guess I do have a disrespect. Is the people that do have the mask, but then use the mask on their chin. Over your mouth, and your nose. Just pull it up. Just pull it up.
It has to cover your nose.
Wear it as a chin strap.
No one needs a chin strap.
Boy, I walked in the subway the other day and walked right back out. That mask was there on his chin. I said, no. Won't get me, buddy.
Yeah, let me get a meatball marinara with some COVID on there.
One thing a lot of that they consider as workers are some of the last
COVID mustard.
actually depend upon.
Yeah, I'd like a sweet onion chicken coronavirus, please.
You got some of that COVID mustard. Stupid.
Crazy. All right, Terry, what you got, brother?
Mine is simple, man. It's probably gonna stay the same until it happens. All disrespect to the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. So arrest the cops that killed Breonna Taylor. All disrespect.
Hey, that's heavy. I like that.
That's it.
I should have let you go last, man, because you make my stuff seem trivial. I should have let you go last. You should have prepped me for that, Terry. That's not right.
Why you gonna disrespect the short people?
No. Jared, you missed it, but yeah. No, but no, I'm not disrespecting short people. Short people, live your life. You're dangerous, but live your life.
Watch out for the ankles.
Yeah, but no, honestly, my all disrespect, and I touched on it earlier in the show, is it's on the whole snitching culture, man. Black folks, we got to get away from that. There are times when it's not only proper, but it's necessary to call the authorities to prevent further harm, to keep Day from going out there and doing the same thing that he may be doing to you or your neighbor and doing it to somebody else. We realize that not all cops are good cops. Sometimes we have these issues. We're sorting those things out. But the stop snitching culture is a problem in our community that is absolutely destructive. It does not help the people that people think that it helps. It hurts us more than anything else. So let's stop snitching culture. Please teach your kids another way.
Hey, just don't do nothing wrong around Jason. He's telling.
We established that earlier.
Yeah, I legit said that earlier. Don't do crime with me. If it goes bad,
I'm telling.
I feel like my life is now in danger. I got the tail on you so I can get home safely. I'm sorry.
Hey, I get it, man. That street code shit is stupid to me. Always has been.
Yeah.
Nah, I ain't gonna tell. Yeah, I know who shot my brother. Yeah, he did. But I ain't telling, bro. That's against the code. Nigga, shut your dumb ass up, man.
Yeah.
He gotta go to jail. He's going to jail.
It's like they shot your brother.
Yeah. But yeah, I saw who smashed my window, but I ain't telling. What I look like? That's dumb. I hate the street code. But I feel you. Good one. Can't look away again.
Boy.
Oh man. But
okay.
Yeah,
did we miss anything, fellas? Is there anything that we need to touch on before we wrap up the show?
I'm sure there is. We haven't done a show in like almost a year. So
we haven't done a show in a year. It's been over a year.
Yeah. It's been a while. It's been a while, but we're here now. Let's make this a regular thing. I enjoyed my time. We'll try to get this episode up as soon as possible. I don't think I have I don't think I have any edits to make, so hopefully this stuff goes up tonight.
Hey, since it's been so long, let everybody know where they can get a whiff of this podcast.
It's funny that you say that, Andre, because we're still trying to work out all the places that we want to broadcast this to. Naturally, we want to drop it on our Us versus Them page on Facebook. I don't have that link for you yet, but maybe that'll be one of the things that I add when we actually post it on Facebook and YouTube and places like that. But Facebook, YouTube, you'll still be able to catch it in the Google Play Store under the podcast app. You'll be able to catch it in the Apple Store under the Apple Podcast app, but of course it'll just be the audio. But we'll be posting at all these places, making sure that y'all get access to the show. We like doing this. We appreciate y'all. Like and subscribe. You know, I don't know where I'm gonna put the button at. But like and subscribe. You know, and keep checking us out, man. Somebody's got to have a better. Is that all you got, Jared? Boy, if you don't stop looking at me.
Facial expression.
Yeah, I'm working on it, bro. I'm working on it. Let's spice this bitch up real quick. What? Did that work? What did you say? Did that work?
Boy, we should not have sent this dude the link. All right, but that's all I got.
Oh, they can follow us on. They can follow us on Twitter also. You can put the link on Twitter too. We'll post it on Twitter.
Right on. All right, let's get our outros. Jared, you came in last. You go first.
All right, signing out. Jared Joe.
Terry,
All right.
I'll let you get. Terry, I'll holler at y'all next time. Once again, arrest the cops that murdered Breonna Taylor.
Thanks.
Yes. Yeah, still the podcast that they warned you about. Hey, Mar, we out of here.
Hey, man, it's Junior signing out. Remember, styles make fights.
The podcast that you love to hate. Hey, be easy till next time.
And Jason, remember, start snitching.
Boy, you stupid up there, boy. Boy, you up there.
Boy, yes. Shut your. Yeah. Thank you for tuning in to Us versus Them. Peace.
Peace.